The Little Mermaid. There was once a marvelous world at the bottom of the ocean, where King Neptune lived with his daughters. The youngest daughter had fair skin, eyes as blue as the sea, and long red hair, and also a long fish tail with golden scales. There was no doubt that Coral was the prettiest and happiest of all her mermaid sisters. Only one thing troubled the king: Coral's fondness for anything that had to do with humans. For this reason, King Neptune entrusted a small hermit crab, Tak, with the task of watching over her. One night, Coral and her friend Puck, a small goldfish, heard a loud explosion on the ocean's surface and swam to the surface, where they saw a great many fireworks shooting up into the sky. A group of sailors was on board a vessel, singing and dancing to celebrate the birthday of Prince John. Coral, fascinated by those strange beings she had never seen before, was filled with awe. "How handsome he is!" sighed the little mermaid, who had not taken her eyes off the prince for one moment. Suddenly, the sky was overcast with black clouds and a strong wind started to blow. The vessel was rocked to and fro by giant waves, and in a few seconds a ray of lightning crossed the sky and split the ship in two. "The ship is sinking! Grab the lifebuoys and head for the lifeboats!" shouted the sailors. The entire crew managed to get to safety, with the exception of the prince, who fell into the water after being hit by a wave. When she saw him sink below the surface, the little mermaid quickly swam towards him and managed to take him to the shore, so that he could recover. Coral remained at his side, singing to him sweetly until she heard the sound of humans coming, and returned to the sea. Just then, Tak, the small crab, arrived on the scene. "What were you doing with that human?" "I think I'm in love," replied Coral. "But that's impossible! You're a mermaid, and you belong here, under the sea," cried Tak. From that day on, Coral was no longer the happy mermaid that everyone knew, and her father realized that something was wrong. Tak, in fear, finally confessed to the king what had happened, and the king sent for his daughter. "I forbade you to have anything to do with humans," shouted the king. "Why did you disobey me?" The king was furious and told Coral she deserved to be punished, and that she should never again go up to the surface. Coral, weeping, told her friend Puck she would pay a visit to the sea witch to try and find a solution. The witch, an enormous jellyfish called Kala, had magic powers like King Neptune, but she always used them to do evil. So when she saw the little mermaid coming into her house, she rubbed her hands together in glee at the thought of all the mischief she could cause. Coral told her all about Prince John and asked her to turn her into a human, but Kala said she would only do so on two conditions. "I will make your wish come true, but in return I will take your voice, and if you are unable to get the prince to give you a kiss in token of his love within 2 days, I will turn you into a sea spray." After accepting the proposition, Coral drank the potion that the witch had prepared and fell asleep. Shortly afterwards, she woke up on the beach and found she had turned into a pretty human. Tak didn't stop complaining about what the king would say if he found out what she had done, but Coral was very happy to have 2 legs. Suddenly she heard a noise. It was the prince, who was taking a walk with his dog along the beach. When he saw her, he thought she had been shipwrecked and took her to the palace. There in the palace, Coral spent a few memorable days with the prince. But just when she was about to get him to kiss her, Kala appeared, converted into a beautiful girl, singing with the sweet voice she had stolen from Coral. On hearing the voice, the prince recognized it as the voice he had heard when the mermaid had saved his life, and immediately left Coral and went to Kala. The powers of the witch made the prince fall in love with her, and their wedding was hastily planned. But what Kala did not know was that the little mermaid's friends were getting ready to help her, and in the middle of the wedding ceremony, they all turned up and organized a great uproar. Tak finally managed to find Coral's voice, which was locked away in a chest, and returned it to her. Now, with her voice back, Coral was able to explain everything to Prince John, who, filled with fury, had the witch locked away in a cage at the bottom of the sea. King Neptune finally agreed to make his daughter happy and let her stay with the humans, and from that day on, Coral and the prince lived happily ever after in the palace.